Hey, everybody. Welcome to another Playful Humans podcast. I'm your host, Mike Montague, and my guest this week is Ethan Levy. He is at Dork Dancing, dorkdancing.com. We're going to find all about that. Strangers coming together for dork dancing in public for mental health. If you want to learn more about Playful Humans, you can go to playfulhumans.com. We help adults rediscover the power of play in their life as well. So lots of good stuff, lots of great stories. If you're feeling burned out, bored, you've run out of shits to give, this is the podcast for you. Here we go. And this is the first Dork Dancing. All right, there we go. That'll get us started. And if you're not watching the YouTube version, don't snooze on the YouTube version of the podcast. It's usually more fun than the audio, but I get you got things to do and places to go. We like to start with the joke of the week. The joke of the week this week is brought to you by Boiling Water. Rest in peace, Boiling Water. You will be missed. Okay, Ethan, what do you call two big black birds that are stuck together?
Black
Velcros.
What is it?
Velcros.
Velcros. Oh, nice. Like it.
All right. That'll get us started. Tell us a little bit about Dork Dancing, how this got started, and what exactly are we talking about here today?
Yeah, so Dork Dancing is a free dance movement and mental health advocacy campaign. And I started it in response to COVID-19 and the mental health crisis. In my own personal journey, I found the simplicity of dancing like a dork to be something very simple that's helped me feel better. So I decided to go out in public and dance like a dork to introduce this idea to people with hopes that it would help people feel better.
So let's start with that first day. You actually went out by yourself. You just got like a boombox. You crank up some music on the street and you just start dancing as ridiculously as you can. And
yeah, that's pretty much it. So I've prior to that day, I've had, a journey of about 5 or so years of dancing in the privacy of my own room, and also dancing kind of like with very close friends. And I always observed that this idea is something very fun, lighthearted, and healing for myself and others. So the attitude that I carried going out that first day was just sort of like, why not? The world's going crazy with this pandemic. I'm going crazy. I have lots of energy. I just want to let it out. And so I had, small JBL speakers, not all too loud, just loud enough for me and maybe a couple others, and just, carried the spirit of, what the heck? This might be something fun. And so I just, went out in public and brought the speakers. And that very first day, I met someone named Ty, who was a stranger at the time, and he and I danced, and it was a good time.
I love that. Now, if we fast forward really quick, today you're in multiple cities. This is a movement. You got an official website. Like, this is a real thing for mental health that you mentioned. People can go to dorkdancing.com and check it out. But tell us about like the impact and that it's had for you and hundreds of people now.
Yeah, thanks. So as of now, we're only located in Da Nang, Vietnam, which is where I started it. And then Denver, Colorado, which is where I live now. So only those two locations. A lot of other people have reached out with interest to start Dork Dancing, and that's been something exciting to observe. But the impact has been pretty incredible. I mean, it's a very simple idea, as I've mentioned, but I think what people are finding is that, it obviously challenges people's anxiety, social anxiety, to dance out in public. It's kind of a vulnerable thing, especially to do with strangers. And so when people go, they are coming quite uncomfortably. But then after a couple songs and after like a 1 hour session, they feel pretty good. And like not all, but a lot of the anxieties are dissolve through the process of dancing. And then people feel a pretty strong sense of like connection and find a sense of community and belonging within the dork community. So I think it's really helped people like combat loneliness. It certainly helped combat loneliness for myself. And yeah, I think like, even though we do it for mental health, there's plenty of physical health benefits. Some people have said, they've lost lots of weight, which is a funny side effect of dancing. But yeah, just having that sense of community and freedom and liberation of the mind, and the heavy burden of self-consciousness can melt away a little bit.
Yeah, I find the dance breaks are really great for that. I used to host karaoke shows and stuff, and I just love like dancing. I still will take a dance break, especially when I have excess energy I need to burn off, or before I get to do a big live event or a broadcast or something to thousands of people. It's like, okay, I better like shake it out here a little bit. I need the right hormones and right energy levels and stuff, and it really helps me reset. Plus, I think there's just something about a good song I found, especially when it's spontaneous. Like if you create a playlist, it's not the same magic. Like, what's happening next. But if you're just cranking the radio in the summertime or something, and that song comes on, whatever that song is for you, and you're like, yeah, this is it. Like this is great momentum. It's really the happiness and fulfillment that I think we all look for a lot. So I think for me, dancing is powerful. How did you pick that? There are obviously lots of ways to play. So on this podcast, we've talked to over 130 people that play differently. And some people like puzzles, or some people like to go hiking in nature. And all of those are great. There's no wrong answer here. But what specifically about dancing did you find?
Yeah, I think just in my journey of dancing in privacy and with friends, I just observed that idea in particular to be an idea that really elevated energy within myself and others in a different kind of way. And I danced out in public by myself before starting Dork Dancing to challenge my own anxieties, and just sort of felt an incredible freedom that dancing offered me. And I always observed that, I started posting some videos of me dancing like on social media, as lots of folks do, and got lots of positive feedback and good energy of having the dancing like making people's day and really lightening the mood and stuff. And so yeah, it's mostly just like getting positive feedback from other people, and then observing within myself like this is really fun, this is really adventurous, and doing so outside is just incredibly liberating. And so yeah, it's a different type of activity, but I just found dancing in particular to carry a sense of adventure that maybe, I love playing basketball, I love hiking, I love doing other things, but there's something a bit more novel and adventurous about dancing.
Now, I find this podcast really interesting. That I talk about play. I try and keep it as lighthearted as possible, but I don't think you can talk about that without talking about the other side of it. So can you share as much as you're comfortable about mental health and your journey there, and why that part of it is so important to you?
Yeah, most certainly. So I'm personally diagnosed as bipolar. I've had now 3 episodes of mental illness where I've had manic episodes, and then that has turned into a state of psychosis, having delusional thinking and misinterpreting my reality in kind of scary ways. And so my experiences of mental illness sort of inform my passion and perspective in advocating for mental health, and using dance as sort of the weapon or tool of choice to raise awareness for mental health. And yeah, as mentioned in the beginning, started it in response to COVID-19 because everyone was sort of locked down, and dancing is an idea that can offer an outlet, even in the privacy of people's own rooms. And so whether it's anxiety, depression, stress, addiction, there's lots of different things that people are struggling with. And dancing for me has been like a self-care tool. So yeah, it's the mental health side of it really is what makes this idea and concept really relevant for me. If it wasn't for the mental health advocacy, then I don't think I'd be, so passionate about dork dancing.
Yeah, I have an interesting and maybe difficult question for you here, that I feel like in our society in general, we try to use medications or other shortcuts, or we try to treat the symptoms of things and maybe not the cause of things. And I'm just being general here. There's lots of different types of mental health issues, and then physical health issues too. So I always wonder, when people are struggling with back pain and stuff, it's like, well, have you tried moving and dancing and stretching and stuff every day? Or you just, want to take an opiate and hope that makes the pain go away, but not fix the problem. Again, everybody's situation is different, but how do you feel about that and your mental health issues? You mentioned several episodes. Do you feel like this is a permanent thing for you? Do you do medication and dancing? Have you found that you can replace some things with others? How does that shake out for you?
Yeah. So everyone's mental health journey and sort of self-care plan looks a bit different, I think. Kind of just depending on, people's experiences. But for me, I've been on and off medication. And for a while I was off medication, but it seems to be after a number of years of being off, I kind of have another episode. And so for now, I'm both on medication and doing the dancing and other self-care things. But yeah, I find there to be like plethora or a lot of different natural solutions, there isn't any one thing that's going to do the trick. I think it's about pursuing a lot of different options at once. And for many people it's medication, but for others that's maybe not quite so necessary. And you can find a lot of support in moving your body however it is, or I've found a lot of weight off my shoulders because I'm open about my diagnosis, I'm open about my experiences, and so I can find support not only in family but a number of friends, and so that's quite helpful as well. So I don't think there's a right or wrong to this. It's just what works and what's most comfortable for each individual.
I think that's a really great answer, and I also think that it's so much of life is not permanent either. What works maybe in your 20s doesn't work in your 40s, or what works for a while doesn't work forever. And if you find yourself getting out of balance for any reason, you might just need to adjust those things. And so I like the idea of dancing because I think that can mean a lot of things to different people. You can dance if you're in a wheelchair, if you're 90 years old, if you're, young and fit and can drop it low, great, go for that. But it is just a fun, pleasurable movement, I think is what I would define as dancing. And I think that's fun, that's even if that's just your arms and waving them in the air like you just don't care, then go for that.
Right.
Do you find that things have evolved for you over time? And I guess this is more directed at the dork part of the dancing here.
Sure.
That do you find yourself becoming a better dancer, or are you intentionally trying to not? What happens if you develop some real skill here and you end up looking good?
That's funny. Yeah, I get the question a lot of, what if I can dance, or what if I look good dancing? And there's concerns of like, is that accepted within the dork dancing space? And I reassure folks that yes, it doesn't matter your expression, doesn't matter how you look. So even if you are traditionally considered or perceived as, dancing with skill, that too is accepted within dork dancing. But yeah, within myself, I used to have a lot of energy that wasn't expressed. And so when I danced in privacy, I would like go all out, have so much just like a burst of energy, and I would feel that I was good. But when I go out to dork dancing, because I dance so much, my energy level isn't quite as high. And so it's not quite as explosive as it used to be.
Aren't we all? Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
That's
But in
funny.
terms of any, improvements, it's all looks similar to me. So I haven't noticed anything.
That's funny. What about other things that you do just for fun? What if you're looking to, go have a good time? What does that look like?
Yeah, well, I'm pretty singular, one-dimensional, and obsessive with dork dancing, so that can be a difficult one. But yeah, I like to try to stay active, play basketball or go on walks or, hang out with friends. I think like returning to the conversation of loneliness, I haven't really felt lonely since starting dork dancing, and there's so many different dorks who I've met through the community, and just spending time with them, getting to know their stories, learning why they're dork dancing and what mental health means to them. I'm really enjoying having like conversations around mental health because that's a more vulnerable conversation that leads to like knowing other people in greater depth. So just spending time with new friends and maybe reading and just hanging out.
And I'm wondering. I like the dork dancing. I personally identify as a nerd. My personal brain is creative nerd, so you see a lot of creative stuff behind me. But creative
Yeah.
nerds like Steve Martin or the Bare Naked Ladies or Douglas Adams, the guy that wrote The Restaurant at the End of the Universe, they're all like really smart nerds, but they're
Mhm.
also not afraid to be silly. I love that. So that's like my personal brand.
That's
Do
awesome.
you feel like there's a difference between a dork, a nerd, and a geek?
Well, that's a good
It's a very
question.
scientific question. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess there's technical differences if you're to Google it.
Yeah.
But to me, at least a dork, I brought in the definition as an imperfect human. And so,
Oh, I
I
love that.
I'm kind of in the process of trying to through dork dancing change people's mindsets or understanding about what it means to be a dork. But yeah, nerd geek, yeah, there's probably some nuances between them, but what's fun about language is everyone kind of relates to words in their own unique way. So
And they don't really mean anything. There might be a definition in the dictionary, but the words mean whatever we make them mean. So the dictionary adjusts to whatever, our
right,
opinions and consensus is
sure,
as a people. So
right.
that's fun and evolving too. All right. My last question for you here is there like a bucket list? Do you see this growing? Are you trying to grow it? Are you letting it evolve and be what it is? Is there something on your fun bucket list, whether it includes dork dancing or not?
Yeah. Yeah, so the vision and dream is to get the world dork dancing. And I'm really excited by the journey of what that might look like. I kind of have New York City on my target list. My hope is that if we can get New York City dork dancing, then maybe we'll get some attention and have some cultural influence greater if we, get that city. But yeah, would
I
love
have the
to.
person for you. My cousin Meg, she's been on the
Uh-huh.
podcast before. She is super creative. She is a dork dancer, and she would not there's like you mentioned on social media, she has the silliest, like funniest, great dances, and she moved back to New York. So I'll make an introduction for you. I feel like
Amazing.
she's your person. Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That's very helpful. And anyone who's there is awesome. So thank you. Um, yeah, so New York City and then, other cities across the country and then hopefully, in foreign places as well. Started in Vietnam. I think it'd be quite incredible to introduce it to Japan, China, India, other places where, mental health conversation looks a bit different than in the US. So yeah, just continue to try to spread it to new places.
I love it. Are you ready to play a game?
Yeah, sure.
All right, spinning our wheel of games. There are 10 games that it could land on, and you got awkward questions. Awkward questions are the would you rather style questions. This one's come up a lot lately, but I have three here that I think might be interesting to you. Okay. The first one is would you be willing to gain 25 pounds to star in a diet commercial?
Uh, that's really funny. Sure. Yeah, I would. Yeah.
That's interesting. I feel like it's going to go either way. I'm more the after at the moment, post pandemic, than the before,
Yeah.
but that's pretty good. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
What would you rather give up for 6 months, chocolate or shampoo?
Ooh, chocolate. Yeah, definitely need the shampoo.
All right, that's a good one. Okay, let's see. I thought I had a really interesting one for you here, but let's go with which limb would you rather lose? This is going to affect your dancing in a sword fight, your right arm or your right leg?
Yeah, I definitely need to be the right arm. Yeah.
Really? Okay. I'm thinking I'm right-handed. I'm gonna need that right arm. I'm gonna have to relearn a lot of stuff, but I could dance on one leg, I think.
Right. Well, that's true. Yeah, you can dance either way. But yeah, I'm actually
Yeah.
left-handed, so it works out.
Oh, there you go. So that was an easier decision. I
Yeah.
should have gone lefty. All right. Well, thanks for playing along. That was super fun. You win just for answering all three questions. So the podcast is yours. Any asks, how can we help you, or gives, how can you help us?
Yeah. I think the ask and give might be similar, but it's very basic for me is encouraging and people to give dork dancing a try. We have online dork dancing as well, so if people want to give that a try online, yeah, just visiting dorkdancing.com. But yeah, just hope to continue to share this journey of mental health advocacy with anyone who's listening and with yourself, and yeah, just do what we can in terms of either dancing or having more mental health conversation, being more open and transparent, but authentically so. Is yeah, just to dork dance together.
I love it. You can dork dance to our outro. Oh, this is a little more slow on the outro though here, but go to dorkdancing.com. Ethan, thanks for being here. If you want to learn more about Playful Humans, go to playfulhumans.com. If you click on sponsors, there's some cool sponsors like concert tickets as prizes for employees to boost morale and all kinds of good stuff there. There are quizzes. Take a fun BuzzFeed style quiz. You can find out your playful personality, or maybe how burnt out you are. Are you like medium rare right now, or you're closer to well done? Go find out playfulhumans.com.
Live for today. Keep on chasing the sunshine and go out and play.
Go play, everybody. Hey, you did it. You made it to the end. But don't worry, there are plenty of more videos where that came from. Just click subscribe to Playful Humans to get notified about our future videos. Now, what are you still doing here? Go play.